Hey guys, Brian delivers you the goods here. I'm returning to you for a spoiler review, and this is for the Joker spoiler review that I'm going to be talking about. So I'm going to discuss what I watched and maybe skim through some stuff to shorten the video out and let you know what I thought of this movie and everything that I've watched. So let's dive into this spoiler review. Now, as a disclaimer, if you haven't watched this movie, do not watch the spoiler review, because I will be spoiling pretty much everything that happened in this movie. But if you have seen this movie, then let's continue. Now, it starts off with him showing that smiley face with his mouth. Sorry, it's raining where I'm at. And it's so weird. And then it shows the opening credits after that with announcing Joker, the cast that's in it, and da da da. And then it goes into where he's working at this haha place as a sign holder in a clown mask or clown outfit and wearing the clown makeup and all that. And then these kids steal his sign, and then they knock him down with the sign and break it, and then they kick him around. They just kick him, and pretty much he's just like, the fuck's going on in this world now? And pretty much after that, shows him going to talk to his shrink or whatever, where he gets his medicine from, and pretty much, I know I'm saying the same thing. He pretty much just talks to him about his journal, talks to her about his journal, and tells her that uh oh, he's thinking negative thoughts and all that. And then she prescribes him this medication to pick up, and then he gets his medicine, then goes home, takes care of his mother. Well, I'll get to that part in a second. He sees this girl that goes boom with her finger gun or whatever that she does, and then he's like, hey, and then that he does as a joke or whatever that he does. And which he takes care of his mom and pretty much feeds her, clothes her, gives her a bath, da da da. Normal son kind of stuff that he does, being a good son. And after that, he goes to this back to his workplace again, and his friend gives him a gun, gives Arthur a gun, and says, oh, for those punk kids that knock you down, or anyone else that does that again to you. And he pretty much takes it, and then he goes to this children's hospital where he does this dance, the happy and you know it, clap your hands thing, or something he does, and then he drops the gun. The gun comes out of his pants or whatever, his leggings, and he just takes it and then just leaves the hospital, and then his boss fires him. And before that, he actually talked to his boss saying that I need my sign back or I'm taking it out of your paycheck. And he does take it out of his paycheck because he can't find the sign. And then, like I said, he gets fired, then goes on the subway train, then pretty much, I didn't explain in the beginning that he goes on this bus and does this and that to the kid, and then the lady's like, don't talk to my son or whatever. And then he starts laughing really badly, like laugh. His laugh is so creepy. Joaquin Phoenix's laugh, portraying as the Joker, it's so creepy. Uh, and when he's on the subway, like, I'm getting back to where I left off with the subway thing and the train and what happens there. This lady's being messed with by this guy, and he starts laughing. Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker, or Arthur, starts laughing, and really hard, and he just keeps laughing. And this guy takes his little hat thing that he's wearing with the clown wig and all that, and then is mocking him, and so are the other two guys. And then they pick him up and start beating him up, and one guy punches him in the face really hard, and then he pretty much is getting kicked, and then he shoots two of the guys, Arthur does, and then one guy's running away because he knows he has a gun, and then shoots him after he leaves the train twice, and then starts running off, Arthur does, and then locks himself in this bathroom or whatever, and then starts this dancing thing, which is so weird. And then afterwards, he goes back home or whatever, and pretty much uh, talks to the girl again, and I guess makes out with her or whatever. And then this is. Then he goes back to his shrink again and talks to her, and she said this is the last time we'll be seeing each other. And he's like, all I have are negative thoughts, da da da, he says. And I just want to be cured of this. Then he finds out that Thomas Wayne could be his father. And he goes to the Wayne house and he wants to talk to him about Penny Ray or something, or Frank or whatever his last name is. And he talks to Bruce. That's where he meets Bruce for the first time when he's a kid. And it's so weird. And then pretty much talks to the caretaker and then chokes him out and says, deliver a message to Thomas Wayne, or whatever he's doing. And then he runs away after that. And then he goes back to see his this girl or whatever that he's talking to, or it's something that happens after that. And then pretty much he sees the ambulance there at his place, and he's like, what's going on? And he said his mother's had a stroke or something, and pretty much they're taking her to the hospital to get treated, and pretty much has to go with them to see if she's going to be alright. And that's where the detectives come in and try to talk to him and say, oh, we need to ask you a few questions, Arthur. And it's about 3 men that got killed that night. He actually, in the movie, goes to dinner with this. I didn't explain this. Goes to dinner with the chick or whatever that he's seeing. And then he sees this guy in a clown mask in the back seat of this car drive by, and he gives him the weirdest smile. And then he goes to a comedy club after that, and I'm explaining parts that I didn't explain about. And I'm going back to where I left off with the mother thing and all that, and the ambulance and the detectives talking to him. So I'm going to explain this for a second and then go back to that. And he pretty much gives him the weirdest smile. And then, like I said, goes to a comedy club and laughs at this guy's jokes. And laughs really creepy. And pretty much it leaves off to where he goes back to his shrink, and they said they can't see each other anymore because they're closing the program. So now I'm going to talk about where I left off with the ambulance thing and all that. He pretty much, the detectives talk to him, and he's like, I don't want to talk right now because my mother's in the hospital, and da-da-da-da. And he just leaves that scene where he's leaving the detectives and walking away from them afterwards, because they're asking him about the 3 men that died that night in the train or at the subway. And they're like, oh, do you think I have something to do with it? And they're like, oh, we don't think that. And then pretty much it goes to the next scene where he thinks he's seeing this girl, but I don't think she exists. I got confused at that part because she's saying to leave her apartment, that he should leave the apartment because her daughter's sleeping, and he just does this or whatever to remind her of something. And pretty much I don't think what they had was real. And that's where afterwards he finds out he was adopted, and he goes to talk to Thomas Wayne and then gets punched in the face by Thomas Wayne. Then pretty much he kills his mother after he finds out he was adopted at that psych ward where he found the files on his mom, Penny, and takes them from this guy and reads all about it and finds out that he was dropped in the head when he was a baby. He had his head or dropped as a baby, and he never cried or whatever, which is very, very odd. And then pretty much it goes to where he kills his mother. Like I said, kills her with a pillow. He kills her with a pillow. And then afterwards, these guys come to his apartment that he worked with at the Ha Ha place, and he kills one of the big guys, and the little guy he lets get away. And then later on, he puts back his makeup on, and he's doing the stairway dance, and it's so weird. And yeah, and then the detectives come to find him and try to ask him some questions, and he starts running. So I'm going to have to come back at you for the last few parts that I'm going to talk about for this review. But I hope you enjoyed the first part. I know this was pretty long, but I had to get most of the majority of what I talked about out of the way, so I could give you guys a good review, a good spoiler review for the first part. But I will return to you for the second part of the spoiler review. So stay tuned for that, and I'll see you in my next video.